Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another wonderful episode of The Wonders of Science with Mr. Whybrew. This is Season 2, Episode 24, and in this episode we're going to do our, I would guess would call this our Part 1 of 2 series on just breaking down the levels of organizations into just the two smaller groupings. That would be those on the macro level and those on more on the micro level. So in this one, we're going to be answering the question, what are the macro levels? That being the biosphere through populations. Anybody know what that means to be part of the macro level? Anyone? You want to take a guess? What does macro level mean? Anybody? Anyone? Anyone? Come on. Anybody? Any? All right. Let me go and answer that. So what are the macro levels? Well, I mentioned specifically, or at least the range, and that being the biosphere through the populations. But let me dig into that a little bit more. So the levels of organization which make up the macro end are as following, starting with the largest, that being the biosphere. Following that, we have ecosystems. From then on, we move on to communities. And lastly, we have populations. Now, the reason that I've classified these as those on the macro end would be the reason because the word macro refers to large, and each of these levels of organization looks at parts of the living world on the larger scale. The highest scale talking about the whole Earth, that being the biosphere, and the last one talking about large groupings of the same species. Here again, I've further organized the levels of organization and once again showed how classifying things in particular, and should mention this, in a particular order can be helpful as it clarifies things and it shows where things are grouped and organized. Pretty cool. Remember, in the next video, we'll be talking about the other half, that being on the micro end. All right, time for our fun science fact of the day. Listen to this. It's going to be a little... not sure how to put a pun for this one. Sorry, just don't have one. All right, our fun science fact of the day goes as follows. 70% of the dust in your home consists of shed human skin. In other words, when your skin sheds and goes on the ground, it makes up nearly 70% of the dust in your house. Pretty interesting, weird, and could potentially be gross for some of us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for another wonderful episode of The Wonders of Science with Mr. Whybrew. Keep an eye out for the question at the end of the video, and as always, enjoy the wonders of science. Good day, and goodbye.